Hi, I'm Dave Creech. I'm at Stephen F. Austin State University. I'm the director of SFA Gardens, which is about 128 acres, 60 of which has irrigation, and one of my loves is fruit, and we're standing in the blueberry patch, which is a little less than an acre. And what we do is collect varieties and work with some of the other breeding programs across the South, particularly in Mississippi and in Georgia and Florida. And I work internationally in Chile and in China and some other places. So we have a very cool collection of varieties. This particular year has been a little bit of a stretch for us. We've had this amazing freeze about February the 15th and 16th. We went 7 days under 32. We went to -4. We have less damage than I suspected, but all of the early flowering varieties of blueberries that kind of got caught in that mid-February freeze, they took a major hit. Not only did the flower buds die, but the buds died, and we even have branch damage on it because the sap was flowing. But our later varieties, if we can keep the deer and the squirrels and the pigs out of here, and the two-legged critters is a little bit of a problem in our patch, we've got a pretty good crop on some of the mid and late seasons. So we're interested in all kinds of blueberry varieties to service the East Texas industry, which is about 800 acres of blueberries. Lots of small farms, particularly those that want to serve metropolitan areas in East Texas. Something near Tyler, something near some of the bigger cities is of great advantage if you have a small farm. We do have some large-scale farms in East Texas. The Alexanders have 150 acres machine pick, and it's an industry, but it's had its ups and downs, primarily because of the Mexico imports. I'm standing next to a green roof pavilion that was built by my students, and so we have 6 to 8 inches of soil up here, up to a foot in the middle, and we've had a prairie up here for 10 years. We don't do anything. Used to set it on fire until the fire department got on me about it, and we just burned it off real quick. But somebody turned us in, and we had a fire truck here, and that was kind of exciting because they normally charge you $1,000, but they let it ride. So we gather here and do workshops and seminars and teach pruning, and we get folks to understand how the flower situation works. Blueberries are somewhat self-fertile, but they do appreciate having other varieties around so that the bees, and we do put 2 hives of bees in here. We have natural bees, but that helps as well. So we're collectors and work with some of the other growers. Behind me, if we can walk over here, is something I'm interested in, and it's bag technique. And we do have some farmers with 2,000 or 3,000 of these in southeast Texas. And these bags are about $4 to $5 each, but they last forever. And there's a lot of advantage, particularly in a group of blueberries that we call Southern High Bushes. These are generally low chill, and they are very early to ripen, and they arrive on the market at a time when there's not a lot of competition, thus the prices are high. So when you have high prices, you can afford to get out there and hand pick and make some serious money. But the bag technique should last for 6 or 7 years, and after a crop is made, you basically come in and you can cut these guys off about this high and force new growth, and that's next year's crop. So they have an annual pruning right after harvest, which we've already done on some of these. So it gives you an idea of, and it's easy to keep clean. It's easy to keep the weeds at bay. We can use a little chemistry on it. And then we have 1 or 2 emitters on each one of these bags. It comes on once a day for about an hour, drops a half a gallon. We haven't needed it. We've had 11 inches in the last 2 weeks come through here. We've had our major floods, but I really like it. Plus it's easy to cover. If you want to frost protect, you can put frost fabric over it, or you can put it in a Quonset greenhouse. This is all kind of new to us because the mainstream blueberries in June and July are pretty low price for farmers. But the blueberries that are ripe now and in earlier, in May, they bring double or triple the amount per pound, and so that makes them much more attractive to our farmers. So blueberries, once 1,100 acres, now 800, And the main constraint that we have is competition from Mexico. And they're in the stores right now as I speak. So that's been difficult to deal with on an economic basis for even small farms because price was driven down. So we're pleased that we survived 2021 freeze, and we're happy we've gotten out of the flood situation, and we're looking forward to continuing to add blueberries. I'm so impressed with this, I'm actually putting in another 126 of these bags. And I got them in SFA purple, by the way, because purple is SFA's color. And you can get them in different colors, not that that matters. But the reason they're becoming so popular is that plants do so well in them, provided you have a good, reliable irrigation system because of the drainage. Blueberries love well-drained soils, but they need a lot of water. So it's one of those conflicts there, and bag technique is one that is kind of gaining favor, not just in the USA, but in Chile and in China and South Africa. We're seeing a lot of blueberries being grown in bags because you can just give them a little more attention, a little more protection. So we're excited it's blueberry season, and our blueberry festival is June the 11th, I believe, in Nacogdoches, Texas. Check that date, and we're hoping to have a real good turnout since COVID is now almost a thing of the past. Hi, a little bit about growing blueberries. This is not one of the perfect sites. I'm not too happy with the slope, etc. But to grow a good blueberry bush, this is 3 or 4 years old. And we've already picked some of these varieties in here. Our strategy is 3 of this and 3 of that. So we like to have 3 of each variety. Most of these are not even named. They are selection numbers. And so out of the breeding programs at USDA Poplarville, Mississippi, and the Florida program and Georgia program, and some of the work that we've done, I actually have 6 or 7 new blueberries from China that I'm real excited about. Keep in mind that blueberries are American. They evolved here. They're a part of the United States of America, but they become a popular fruit worldwide, and there are huge acreages all over the world now. So we have a lot of competition growing our very own native. But because it's native here, it's adapted here, and they're fairly easy to grow if you pay attention to a few essential ingredients. You'll notice that we have a lot of these on berms. They're a little bit raised. They do like that drainage. We do add a lot of composted pine bark fines, which is available quite easily in East Texas. They like an acid soil, and they're not like a peach tree and a lot of other fruits. They do not like a lot of fertilizer. You have to be very careful. They're easy to burn. So all members of this particular family, all blueberries, we look at them at about 25% the amount of nitrogen you would give a peach tree, and they respond. And you can always tell that they're happy and healthy is when they're suckering. See that? They're starting to push up some suckers at the base of the plant, and that means this plant has found a happy home and it's looking for a place to expand its size. And we operate on the basis of keeping the pH monitored. We have a lot of problems in East Texas for the farmers. You really have to test your water, and you really have to test your soil before you get into it. If you have sodium in your water well, over 50 parts per million, it's not a good scene for the blueberry. They're very sensitive to sodium, much more sensitive than our other fruit crops. So once you get past the water needs and the soil needs in handling the drainage, they're really rather easy to grow. We have a number of chemicals that we use as herbicides, how to kill weeds around them, and we have shifted away from glyphosate, Roundup as many people know it, because it's a little dangerous if there's a wind and you can damage it. But we're using some new product called glufosinate, and I love it because you can hit a part of the blueberry that doesn't do any damage, but it does seem to knock the weeds out pretty good. If we didn't have weed control in here, we'd be neck deep in weeds, but with good herbicide management, good weed control management, you can keep it fairly clean for your visitors as well as for the health of the plant. Hi, we're at the Muscadine patch. I'm Dave Creech, Direct SFA Gardens, and we love fruit here. This is our patch of about 70 varieties of muscadine grapes. I bet many of you didn't know we had that many of them. We even have 2 seedless muscadine grapes we're quite excited about. So I work with a number of breeders and some of the commercial nurseries that are out here. And muscadines are native of the South, and they go all the way across the Gulf Coast, Gulf South, all the way into Georgia. And they're extremely well adapted, and we haven't fertilized these in several years, and we are training them on a 3-wire cordon system. And what that means is that to really double the yields, we have 3 wires, one in the middle that makes the main arm, and then we tie off or they flop over, and you get this wide canopy. And a wide canopy means that you have a lot of sunlight interception, and you can just make more fruit. How much fruit? Well, on an acre of 200 vines, you should be able to get 5 to 7 tons. We've seen up to 9 tons. We do pick these, we weigh them, and then we distribute them and have folks taste them, etc. Muscadines are kind of known for their thick skin and their seeds, and those are considered negatives. But we do have some thin-skinned varieties, and we have some varieties that have gone seedless. So I'm excited about that. The maintenance on this is to keep them clean beneath and to have a straight trunk to two cordons, and then let them flop over so we have this wide system. So we basically prune in the end of the winter, get them all straightened up, and it takes us about 30 minutes to prune a vine. The weed control is rather easy. We have a drip system here, but folks, to be honest with you, when they're this old and they're in a bottom in East Texas, they don't really need a lot of irrigation, so we use it very, very sporadically. The number one problem that we have is deer and wild pigs. We do have this piece of property encircled with a deer net to about 8 or 9 feet, and that helps us on the deer. And so far the pigs have not challenged this net, but I'm afraid that they might in the future. So we're looking at how do we pig-proof it. Pigs are becoming an increasing problem in the urban areas and in the city areas, and they're running the Lanana Creek is what they're doing, and then they come in here for a little recreation. So we do get a number of people out here to pick that help us get our yield in, and then we share that produce with a lot of folks in 2-pound bags so that we can get an organoleptic evaluation. So they rate 5 things: is the sweetness, I liked them, I hated them, and most people like them. They don't like the seeds, and that's part of it. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out today. Hi, Dave Creech again at the kiwi patch at SFA Gardens. We're on Star Avenue by the grounds building, and we've been in the kiwi research end of it since 2010. We had our first crop in 2014. We were the very first green or gold kiwis ever produced in Texas. And so it's a complicated crop. You can see here, this is one of our our varieties, and you have a central trunk, and then you basically have wires down. It's a complete and total canopy. And for those of you that like the math, it's about 40,000 pounds on an acre, and we've been producing that if you add it all up. It's on a small plot, but we can extrapolate. And it takes a male plant and a female plant. That's what made it complicated, and it can't be just any male, it has to be the right male. So the timing of the pollen shed on the male plant has to be perfect with the timing of the stigma receptivity. And that's probably one of the reasons that nobody's ever had the right combination together. I work in New Zealand with some folks there, South Africa, as well as in China. So we've had 6 crops out of 8, and we're excited about it. So I think that essentially there's some opportunity here. It takes about 200 plants per acre, and it takes 2 to 3 years to get them into production, and they're very, very fast in this location. In fact, our friends in New Zealand have visited here, and they say these are some of the most vigorous vines that they've ever seen out of New Zealand and in all the parts that they have them. It's a global crop. 36% of the golden kiwis is owned by one company, and it's called Zespri. And they're global holdings. So when you buy a Sun Gold at $2.99 a pound in one of those little clamshells, that is money that is going to the New Zealand owners of that particular variety. So everything is intellectual property, everything is patented. We really don't have any varieties that you can get easily. You have to get into some licensing. So we're excited that we have been part of the Texas Department of Agriculture Kiwi Grant. I work with Dr. Tim Hartman at Texas A&M. And I think we've knocked down some naysayers, because 6 crops out of 8, and we've got another one. And most important, we even shocked our friends in South Africa and New Zealand. We survived -4 degrees here. And the verdict is in. You know, we have some pretty good fruit for this time of year. We'll be picking these in the middle of September, the end of September, and we can pick them real hard. We test the sugars, and when it gets to 8, 9, and 10, you can strip pick. It's not like peaches where you have to pick the right one. These you can just go real fast. And an average worker in New Zealand is pulling 400 to 500 pounds in an hour. And it's because there's no thinking involved. 40,000 pounds an acre, $2.99 in the store. You guys do the math. We think this is a up and coming crop. We think it has potential, and we're going to prove it in the next few years. We have 6 farmers that we're working with in Texas, and helping with some of the technology that's involved. So the verdict will come in the next few years. We'll know if kiwis have a future in East Texas. Thank you for being part of this virtual tour. I'd rather have you here in person. It just makes a lot of difference. So if you're interested in fruit production, vegetable production too, think about SFA. We'd like you to come and visit. We do work with a number of farmers in East Texas, and it's kind of one of my true loves. And looking for new crops, we've looked at blueberries, we've looked at muscadines, and we're real excited about kiwis. We were going to show you the figs, but they're froze to the ground. And we have a lot of other alternative fruits that I think you might enjoy here as well. So some of them are not very well known, but they might be useful if we ever have a famine. So if you're thinking of helping SFA Gardens, you can go to our Facebook page, SFA Gardens. We do a lot of posting on the fruit part of our program, as well as some of the vegetable work that we do as well. And also our website, which is sfagardens.sfasu.edu. And you can get a hold of me there. I'm D. Creech, D-C-R-E-E-C-H, at sfasu.edu. Feel free to reach out. And thank you for being part of it.